Hi everybody, I wanted to make a video for this assignment 5.06. In this assignment, you're going to learn about writing to an output file. So I encourage you to take your time going through the first couple pages of the lesson. Please be sure to practice with these demo files, the mystery print writer and the print writer demo. Now, on the third page, it starts talking about something called the Monte Carlo simulation, and I think this can be a little bit confusing. Um, some events or phenomena are too costly, too dangerous, or too complicated to study or observe directly, so they must be simulated. The Monte Carlo method involves repeated, random simulations to approximate quantities that cannot be quantified by direct observation or experimentation. So this method is applied to numerous areas such as chip design, rescue operations, and other types of research. So basically what you're going to do is you are going to use random numbers to simulate a situation. Let's go to the assignment and see what we're going to simulate. So you're going to use the Monte Carlo sampling method where we use random numbers to simulate a situation. And we are going to use that to observe an animal population. So this example here is the example I'm going to explain. So they say to pick any animal you'll be watching. So they're going to watch the squirrel population. There are all kinds of squirrel present, but we're looking for, in particular, fox squirrels. And it goes on to say, you have been told that there is a 1 in 10 chance of spotting a fox squirrel. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate the random numbers between 1 and 10. And we're going to pick one of those numbers like 10. Every time I'm going to generate random numbers until I generate a 10. And I'm going to keep track of how many random numbers between 1 and 10 did I have to generate until I encountered a 10. The number of times it took us until we got a 10 is what we're going to write to our output file. That is one trial. So your task today is to write the simulation, the Monte Carlo simulation. It does give you an example in here. So it says, for instance, if you see 2 red squirrels, 4 gray squirrels, and then a fox squirrel, so that's 7 different squirrels. You had to see 7 squirrels until you saw a fox squirrel. You would write 7 to the output file for that trial. So let's see what the details are. You're going to create a class called Animal Population. You are supposed to write pseudocode. So that's like step by step what you're going to do. First thing you're going to do is prompt the user for the number of trials. So you have to conduct at least 1,000 trials, or they can do more. Use random numbers to simulate the animals. Determine which number will represent your animal. In the sample above, the numbers 1 through 9 represented other types of squirrels, and they used 10 to represent the fox squirrel. So when they're generating the random numbers 1 through 10, when they get a 10, it's a fox squirrel. Conduct the trial to simulate observing your animal. Record the total count for each trial. So in other words, how many total random numbers did I have to generate until I got a fox squirrel for that trial? If I say I'm going to conduct 1,000 trials, in my output file, I should have 1,000 integers, each integer representing how many random numbers I had to generate for the trial until I got a 10 or a fox squirrel. Once you have all 1,000 numbers or whatever number of trials was entered by the users, you want to close the output file, and then you want to read it again You want to read it from start to finish. So essentially, it's like you're using it as an input file, like I did in this week's example. And as you read each integer, add it to a running total. So, in other words, you're going to add up all those numbers. Once you've added them all up, find the average of those numbers. So if you added up 1,000 numbers, you take the sum divided by 1,000 and you would report that average. So in our situation, our average should be close to 10 since we had generated 10 numbers and 10 was a fox squirrel. So we're using multiple trials in a simulation to simulate identifying a fox squirrel in a squirrel population. So there are suggestions. Write the program in stages, testing along the way. Start with a small number of trials, so maybe 5 trials. This will enable you to double check things as you go along and check your average. You may need to add print statements along the way to make sure the values are working correctly. The text file should only show integers. So after you have finished that, you should double check that. And here's what the expected output should look like. Give me a welcoming message. You ask the users how many trials should be simulated. If they enter a value less than 1,000, you should ask them to please try again. Once they've entered a number greater than 1,000, you can have a message print like this, and then the results printing the average number of squirrels. So this is going to be a big, tough task here. If you need help with your pseudocode, send me what you have. Or if you don't even know where to start, just message me and I'll try to help you. Thank you.